As Amaze celebrates its 20th birthday, we wanted to take a moment to share some of the difficulties that parent carers experience and the impact we have been having with a generation of families with disabled children in Brighton and Hove.
I've got 2 adult daughters, and Charlotte's my second oldest, and she's 30 now, and Charlotte has severe autism and severe learning difficulties and mental health problems, so she's a bit bipolar as well. She can be very high or very low, and she doesn't really use speech to communicate even now, but she's extremely able in lots of other ways.
So Amaze started, it actually was founded by parents coming together. They formed a parent support group. In fact, 2 parent support groups came together to form Amaze.
What I brought to the table was my experience of being Charlotte's mum, and collaboratively, collectively with some other parents, a year or so before we'd got together and written the handbook Through the Maze, the first edition of Through the Maze.
And at the time I joined, there was 12 staff, and we've now got 42 staff. We have about 70 volunteers that support our work as well, without whom we really would be doing much less. There's other charities supporting disabled people, adults with disabilities, but we're the only charity locally that is supporting families with disabled children, providing advice and support directly to those parent carers.
I think the first mention of something not being quite right was actually his sister, his older sister, who pointed out some unusual behaviour. And at the time I was probably actually, in all honesty, a bit cross when she brought those things up, because that's just not the way I wanted to think. And the last thing I wanted to think was that there was something wrong with the baby.
It's almost a sick irony that I've always loved words. I've always loved writing, acting, voicing. I'm a voiceover artist, and I have a non-verbal son.
Having a child with an additional need can be very challenging, and we've had many stories of families ringing us in crisis.
When you've just had a baby and you can't have your shower, or you can't go to a loo, then it's still like that with Dexter. It's still going to be like that. I always make sure I have my shower first, otherwise if anything happens and my husband's not here, I don't know how I can cope.
So there's families that are just exhausted. There's lots of families who have children that are up at night a lot, all night in some cases. So there's lots of sleep-deprived parents and carers out there.
Our relationship has been challenged like it would never have been otherwise, because most of the time there's very little time left for ourselves to make sure that to look after our relationship almost, because we have to be so vigilant all the time. With Dexter, make sure that he doesn't escape, but sometimes I wake up and I think it's a miracle we still talk to each other. I don't know how we do it. It's really, you've got to put something else in there. I don't know what it is. And it's not just the feelings actually, it's also the day-to-day life again, Sleep is different. If I can be very honest, we don't sleep that much anymore, together. It's all a whole brand new organization,
The first interaction I had with Amaze was when a lady, her name was Lizzie, she came to actually help me to complete a form to apply for some disability living allowance. I had no idea that over the last few years, while we were going through that difficulty, we could have actually applied for disability living allowance, partially because I'd never heard of it, and also I, despite all the problems, hadn't considered that it was a disability.
No matter how detailed the notes are that come with the claim packs. I think it's psychologically really, really hard for parents to write about their child's needs and identify what it is that's extra and different that they're doing as parents, because you just get on and do what needs to happen.
What she explained to me is that he was needing a level of care above and beyond his peer group, what they would normally need. So in absence of a diagnosis, the application for DLA was still valid, and she was completely right.
We know at Amaze the importance of building the confidence and the resilience of a parent carer so that they can pass on the resilience and the skills to their child with additional needs. And building that resilience in parents has been a real core value at the heart of all of the services that Amaze tries to deliver.
Amaze have been involved in my life ever since that first meeting when I contacted the helpline. I could literally list off, I have done triple P parenting courses with Amaze. I have also done a course, I can't remember what the name of it, but the focus was us parents nurturing ourselves and looking after our needs. Amaze have offered support groups about helping your children through the maze, as they say. We are currently involved. They had a workshop for parents about the next stage in life, what happens when they're post 16, and that's something that worries all of us parents, what happens in the future.
So I've worked for children's charities for 20 years, probably because it's always been really in the forefront of my mind, especially when I went on to have children. The thing that's most precious to you in the world, can you imagine if they face really harsh challenges, what you'll go through as a parent? Everyone can imagine that if you're a parent or not.
To be honest, all of the support we got was from Amaze. The first phone call I made was to Amaze. I spoke to one of their professionals there, and what I got was practical help, because the lady I spoke to told me about a compass card, which meant he could start going to activities, swimming, that type of thing. Also, just having a sympathetic ear, someone to talk to.
When I heard about help, actually, I didn't want it because I was not ready to accept that I was going to have a child with a lifelong disability.
So they actually linked me up with another parent who'd been through the same to give me confidence, and that's someone I met with. We had coffee and she'd attend meetings with me. So I was put in touch with a lady who had had exactly the same experience. They matched us so well. Someone I felt I could talk to, and gave me a lot of encouragement about what we were doing, and some very direct advice and knowledge about that process.
They helped me in terms of not feeling alone, definitely meeting other people, because maybe I've not emphasized this enough, but you do really feel alone. You really think you're the only one to whom it's happening when it's happening. It's weird, but you know how it is, motherhood, you know, it's you and your child, you know, and what have I done? Why is it not working? What's wrong? Why is it like that? Why is it happening to us, you know? And I don't think you can answer to these questions alone. Actually, I think you need other people to help you and say to you, you will manage. It's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be perfect. That was something which really helped me. Someone from Amaze, Emma Parker, I think, who supported me through the whole EHCP process, said to me, it's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be fine. You're gonna manage. And that's really what you want to hear when you don't know where you're going and you've never done it before. How is it when you can't express what you feel? You know, it's not just, I don't know, it's not just an idea. It's so real, and it really hurts when we're around the table and everybody's chatting and he can't. It's so isolating. You know, these are the moments when I really feel for him and really want to tell him, I know it's hard. You know. I know it's hard. And I want to talk, I want to help you talk. I want you to be able to express what you feel, because this is your human, right? Yeah. I think I started with some workshops with Amaze, which were like looking after yourself as a mum, transition for school, things like that. And immediately, I mean, the fact that you can meet other parents like you, well, that's it really, that's what you need, you know, that's the only thing you need at that moment in a way.
For us, those activities and workshops make a huge difference, because it gives him the freedom to go and enjoy and be independent, hang out with young people, which it's good for his self-esteem, and it just means we can get a break from him and go and have a coffee somewhere and do something grown up while he has a few hours doing what he enjoys. So it's immense.
There's about 42 staff now, mostly part-time, that work at Amaze, and most of them, well, over half, are parent carers themselves, and I think that really gives Amaze, a unique viewpoint and a unique way of delivering our services, because a lot of the staff have had experience themselves of looking after a child with an additional need, and that really comes through in our work. We've also just taken on 2 staff who are young people themselves with additional needs, and so that's now meaning, as an organisation, we can learn more about what young people themselves want from us going forward.
They have been everything, like the Bible of knowledge and support for me throughout, to the point that we once were considering leaving Brighton, and we actually decided to stay here because of the support we get from Amaze. At the time, Amaze worked with families in Brighton and Hove, and I believe that they've widened that spectrum now to some other areas, but we were actually scared to leave Brighton because we'd be leaving Amaze and the support we've had from them.
There are about 3,400 children with significant special educational needs or disabilities in Brighton and Hove. Key issues for their parent carers include exhaustion. 43% haven't had a break from their caring role in the past year, and 32% said that they have never had a break. Only 37% said they have a good night's sleep. Money worries. 55% live in or on the margins of poverty. 36% say their caring role means they can't work, and 32% have had to take less senior roles to reduce work hours. 17% of parent carers reported skipping meals as there wasn't enough money to feed the whole family. Own health problems. 30% have a disability or additional need themselves. 70% have experienced physical or mental ill health as a result of their caring role. Relationship breakdown. 36% are single-parent families. Feel isolated. 46% report that they don't have enough social contact, and a further 19% report that they have little or no social contact and feel isolated. We are now working to support families in East and West Sussex too. To help support the next generation, please contact Amaze 01273 234 020. info@amazebrighton.org.uk.